everybody. I hope you all are doing great. Have you ever did backtesting before choosing numbers to play? Well, a lot of people have asked me the question, what is backtesting? So that's what this video will be about today. So backtesting lottery numbers, it refers to the process of going back in time and studying past winning numbers using a specific strategy or system or a workout. Now, instead of guessing or playing randomly, you're actually analyzing historical data to see how certain numbers or patterns or combinations behaved over time. Now, in simple terms, you're asking yourself, if I had to use this exact system back then, would it have produced a winning number in a future draw? That's the main purpose I like to use backtesting. I want to find out, where did this number come from? This winning number that came out, how did they get to that? Even though we all know they're random, but I like to tell myself I'm getting an edge. Now, by applying your strategy to the past results, you can see how often it would have hit, how consistent it was, and whether it shows any signs of reliability. Now, this process of testing a system against past draws is what we call backtesting. And it's one of the smartest ways to evaluate whether or not a method is worth using going forward. Now, the goal, as I said, of backtesting is to determine whether your system or strategy actually works before you risk your money playing a number. You're not trying to predict the lottery with certainty because, as we know, they always say the lottery is random. But you are trying to put probability on your side. Now, by reviewing past results, you can identify trends. You can look at which numbers or patterns appear more frequently, which ones repeat, and which strategies show better performance over time. Now, this can help you narrow down your choices and play numbers that are supported by data instead of emotion or guesswork. Ultimately, backtesting is about making smarter, more informed decisions and giving yourself the best possible probabilities when choosing the numbers you want to play. And that saves a lot of money instead of doing a lot of guesswork. A lot of people have their pet numbers, which I understand. You have a pet number that you stick with. That's what a pet is, numbers you stick with over time. It could be your birth date, or it could be your address. It could be your car tag number, or just some number you like. You give that as your pet number and play that consistently. Now, in other words, backtesting, it takes the guesswork out of playing, basically. Instead of wondering whether a number strategy might work, you can actually measure how it performed over time by comparing it to real past lottery results. Now, every state, you can pull up your lottery website, and there's always a link that you can click on, past winning numbers. So that's where you can go to see what came out over time. Now, however, why do people like to backtest lottery numbers? Well, it's for several important reasons. First, many players, they like to use backtesting to look for patterns, as I stated. You want to know where a number came from. Even though they're designed to be random, as I stated, some players believe that certain numbers, combinations, or cycles tend to repeat over time. And sometimes they do, and they actually appear that way. Another reason is to evaluate a system. If you have a specific method, like playing numbers with a certain sum, avoiding repeats, or following a number workout, backtesting allows you to see whether that system showed any success in the past. It's backtesting. It's also used to build confidence. When players see that a particular set of numbers or strategy would have hit or come close multiple times before, they may feel more comfortable using it going forward. Therefore, backtesting, it helps you feel more strategic. Instead of choosing numbers at random, you're making decisions based on history and analysis, which it does give you a sense of structure, purpose, and control in how you play. Now, what you do, you want to choose a strategy or a workout to backtest, and there are so many to choose from. I personally like to backtest my own original workouts that I compose myself. But just as an example, here's a basic strategy that some people like to use. Let's say, for an example, you want to test the number 317. So you would pull up your lottery's website and pull up their past numbers. Some people, you may go back 3 months or 4 months or even 6 months. And you would just go through each draw, mark down how many times 317 appeared straight and how many times it appeared boxed. You could also test things like how often did the sum of 317 come out. 317 equals 11. So you can look for numbers that have that sum 11 and see how many times that appeared. Or you can see how many times the digits 3 and 1 showed up together, or even how many times the 1 and the 7 appeared together. Basically, you want to analyze the results. So if your number or system came up often enough, you might decide, well, it's worth playing that number again. It looks good. It looks like it may come out again. If it never or if it rarely showed up, you may decide to tweak your strategy, maybe use a different workout. But just remember that it's just a tool, it's not a promise. But it's a method that I like to use, and I've always backtested because I like to find a pattern, and I believe in patterns because patterns do repeat. They may skip now and again, but however, numbers do repeat. So I like to find patterns that will give me good probabilities when I'm choosing numbers to play, or even whenever I'm composing my number list. I like to have the best probable number that I feel may come out. Because it gives you confidence. It gives you confidence in choosing numbers to play. So if you haven't back tested before, it's a good idea, especially if you're just playing a lot of money and you're never winning. It might be something you might want to take a look at. You can even use the tic-tac-toe. That's a good workout. I have several varieties and different versions of the tic-tac-toe method that you can use to look for numbers, to go back and past numbers and see if you can find a pattern within that tic-tac-toe grid where a number may have came out several times. The number in the middle may have came out more frequently. Then that might be a good choice. When you're analyzing your backtesting, you're analyzing your numbers, you may want to use numbers that came out in the middle part of that grid, or horizontally or diagonally, However, you know, you just kind of tweak around and just come up with different options and see what happens. But I just wanted to kind of introduce backtesting because I've been getting a lot of questions. Well, what is backtesting? So I will probably have more examples of different strategies you can use upcoming in the future. So stay tuned, stay posted, like, subscribe, and please share the video and have a blessed day.